Welcome back to the Grazing Daisy. My name is Briar Alba, and today what I'm going to be sharing with you guys is how to make loofah sponges. So I'm just learning how to do this for the first time. I found a video online that showed cutting out like a longer rectangle, folding it in half, and then doing a whip stitch all the way around. I tried to work on this one yesterday, but I didn't have an actual needle that was big enough size. So I'm gonna run into the craft store right now to go pick up a needle that should hopefully work. I had sewn all of this together using grass yesterday, so I poked a hole in the grass, thread the string through, and then tried to thread it all the way through, and I only made it 3 sides and it took a really long time. So I'm going to hopefully get exactly the supplies that I need, and then I should be able to do a whole bunch of these this afternoon. So in the back here, as you can see, I have a huge box and pile of these Luffa gourds that I can hopefully cut up and make into these cute little sponges. And then we will sell these at the farm stand for the place that I work for. They have like a small little garden stand that they keep open during the day, so we will put a whole bunch of these in there and hopefully we'll sell them. They can be used for washing your dishes or for using it as like a scrubby for pretty much anything. So it's a loofah gourd, so it's made out of all natural products and materials. I'm gonna head inside and then we'll hopefully be able to find what we're looking for. Okay, so I finished up my little jaunt to the craft store. I actually ended up getting a lot more than what I went in for. I just went in for those needles and I bought like $12 of stuff. That's why it's dangerous going to the craft store. But I did find some needles that I think will work. So these ones here I think should work. It's really dark outside right now because it's about to thunderstorm. And so this will be fun, especially if it starts raining really hard. But these are the needles that I think I found that will work really well. And then I'm just gonna grab some stuff in the back and try to work on some of this and we'll see how it goes. Second thought, I'm starting to wonder if because the weather is really bad, if maybe I should go inside my house and work on them in there, and then I can just kind of film me doing it and then I can do a voiceover. I might end up doing that because it's supposed to thunderstorm pretty bad and it's like really dark. It's like 3 in the afternoon, so yeah, I should probably head back. It is voiceover Briar time. So this is what the loofah gourds look like after they've already been dried and the shell has been taken off. The first step to making a flat loofah gourd pad is to do this cut right up the middle. So you're basically just cutting the first layer and it's not going to look like you got very far. So if you try to open it up, it's not going to come apart super easily. It's still very much stuck together. So the next step that we're going to do is we are going to cut the next section. We're going to cut the next section, and for that you're just basically doing another cut up the middle, but getting one of the pockets in between your scissors. So once you actually have one in your hands, you'll kind of be able to see what I'm talking about, but you basically just make another cut all the way up the front. This one is one of the most difficult cuts to get the scissors through, and I find that having a very nice pair of scissors, like high quality sharp scissors, is going to do you a lot of good. I haven't tried using a knife, but that might also be a really good idea. You'll notice after you make the second cut in your loofah gourd, it's going to start opening up. Awesome. Okay, so now that we have made our first 2 cuts, you can start kind of stretching the loofah gourd open and you'll kind of be able to see what we're working with here. So this is not the full extent that the loofah gourd can open up. You have a couple more places to cut still. So there's these little pockets on the sides, and if you cut vertically up those like we just did before, you're going to notice it's going to open up a lot more, and then you're going to have more fabric to work with. These cuts are usually pretty easy because this part is kind of thin, so you're really just taking the scissors and going up the front. You don't have to worry too much about putting a hole into the actual piece of loofah. Once all of those vertical cuts are made, your loofah gourd will be opened up as much as it can be. So then the next step is going to be to take your scissors again, and then you're going to cut off all of that little extra stuff on the top. So you don't need that. There's plenty of gourd underneath to make your sponges. And this is what it looks like once you're all finished. So I cut off all of those little extra pieces, and then we have a nice flat piece of sponge that we can work with. We can cut it up, we can sew it, we can make it into a couple of different things. But today, of course, we are making our loofah sponges. I went ahead and I processed a whole bunch of these at the farm camp that I was helping out with, And so these ones are all flat sponges ready to get cut up into rectangles. So for that, you're just going to need your pair of scissors, and then we're just going to cut them into these nice little rectangle strips. So I usually try to keep it like a pretty decent width. This is kind of thin. It's not super thin, but it's like enough that it's a sponge. You'll be able to use it like a sponge, but it's a little bit small. Next step is going to be threading your needles. So I got those needles at the craft store, and then I have a jute that is what I'm using to sew these with. So it's another all-natural product, and it went through the needle relatively easily. It was not very difficult at all. You're going to want to cut a relatively long piece of string, and then at the very end you're going to want to tie a little knot in it. That's just going to keep it from slipping all the way through your sponge. The sewing part is super easy. You just take your needle, poke it all the way through, and it comes right out the other side. So I'm using a plastic needle, but I'm sure a metal one would work just as fine as well. And then you're just doing a whip stitch. So that means that you just keep putting the needle in the same side every single time. So you don't switch sides or anything, and every single time you poke it through, it's going to make this nice little loop that is going to put your two pieces together. Once you've done a whip stitch all the way around the four sides of your sponge, you can tie it off. So for that, I just loop the needle through one of the stitches, and I put the needle back through the loop that we have, and then you can just pull it tight, and that'll create a nice little knot. You can double knot it, but with the thicker string, I found that doing it once is just fine. And this is what the sponge looked like when it was all finished. So it's kind of a bit of a wonky shape, but I think it gives it a little bit of character. They don't have to be perfect. These are gourds that you grew in your garden, and now you're using them to wash dishes. I have about 25 more to make, and then I will be all finished.